Hey, congratulations everybody. We're almost done with our first week of this very short class, but I wanted to first say congratulations. You're getting through the material, you're plunged right into it, and I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're able to see history in a little different way maybe than you've experienced it in the past. As you already should notice that we don't put a lot of focus into memorization of dates or names or just the what occurred in history, but we're looking at the why and the significance. That's such a big important thing when you get into college level history classes, is the significance of why certain things occur and how that affects individuals and society both then and now. So that's why we're looking at stereotypes, which also dives into identities and dives into technology and society formation and comparisons. A lot of you have finished the material that was due today, which is Friday, and it'll be due tonight at midnight. You're always going to have some assignments due Friday. That gives you the whole week to work on it, and then the weekend to dive into material to finish up the week, and then have some assignments due on Monday, and then kick off the next week. So you have some stuff due tonight at midnight. And that was the first chapter, and I'm excited to see what people are writing about it, looking at Mesopotamia. Then we're going to move into a different valley with the Nile that a lot of people are getting that material done. A couple things, the quizzes, sometimes the questions are getting mixed up. Don't worry about that. If I'm grading them by hand, so you might see that your grade goes up on those quizzes. A lot of the effort should really be put into those discussions because you don't have any papers for this class, and history is a humanities subject, which means writing and explaining history and understanding it and letting it sort of marinate in your brain and then being able to explain it is such an important tool and skill to learn. That's why the discussions are so important. Now remember, every time you do a discussion, there's a due date for it. So for example, the discussion due this tonight at midnight, you always have a couple days to do responses. So I am looking for you to respond to at least 2 people in your small group and just explain what they're saying. You could disagree. You could explain what you liked about it. You could say maybe what you saw things differently, but maybe write a paragraph or so. Don't just say I like it, good job. Explain it, get into it. Think of it like we're in a classroom and you're having a discussion. Or think of it even better if you're in a coffee shop and you're having a discussion about this material. Having a discussion about Enkidu and what's going on in the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? And you're having a dialogue. That makes it so much more interesting and rewarding than if I said, memorize this, when did this happen, who wrote it? That's pointless. The point is to engage into it. Put yourself in that time period and see, hey, what has changed? What society, where you can compare it to other texts, ancient texts, or compare it to the way we look at ourselves today. That makes history come alive. So you always have 2 days after discussion is due to write those discussion responses. All right, and that's just on your small group. There's 10 people in your group, so you could choose 2 different ones and do that. The one's on Monday, so that means you have 2 days. So by Wednesday, I'd like to see you respond to people's posts by midweek or so. Those discussion questions, those are really important for your responses. Write a page and a half. The citation could be really easy, kind of an MLA style, just in-text citations where you have parentheses. Hanson's the name of the textbook author, the main one, so you can put Hanson, page number. That's fine. But get into the habit of citing material, even if you're not directly quoting it. If you're just borrowing some material, something you saw or something that you got the idea from, that should be cited. So get into that habit with these discussion posts, and it's something that'll last through your academic career. I use it today even in PhD writing, making sure to cite everything, material borrowed, ideas borrowed, images that are kind of borrowed. All that stuff is a very important tool. Now, we're going to get into week 2 really quickly. So what you're going to see today is that material is going to be posted, so you can get right into it this weekend. Keep in mind the due date. So you have next Friday and the Monday after for week number 2. But for those of you, I know you're very busy and you have other requirements and things in life. So if you want to, you can start getting into the reading and the material now and look at that. Looking at quality, make sure to read those secondary reading sources if there are any. For week number 1, there was 2. So if you go to the reading section in the module, you'll see a link there for the readings. That'll show you what chapters you're reading in the textbook. But then if you scroll down, you'll also see what attached documents are the primary sources. These are original sources from that time period, or material that's really engaging in that time period. And be sure to read those, because the discussion questions are going to focus on those. I'm going to, for full credit, you're going to want to include that. You want to prove to me that you read it. You want to prove to me that you thought about it, engaging in it. So if your answers, as wonderful as they may be, don't include information from the reading, you're not going to get full credit. If you're not going to respond to other people's posts after the 2-day thing, you're not going to get full credit. So make sure to both read and make sure to prove that in discussion, and also after the due date, within those 2 days, to comment on 2 other people in your small group, and that'll help get you that full points for each discussion. And those discussion points add up as we have so many throughout each week. Week number 2, it's a good time to start looking at that and to start really developing and getting into the reading. Let me know what you think about the textbook. Let me know if there's any sort of problems that have occurred this first week, or any hindrances in the learning process. If you've had access to the videos or not. So get into the reading, get into the discussions. Please email me questions, comments, concerns. A lot of people are already, and that's fantastic. Again, don't worry when you finished each quiz if you're thinking that's not exactly right. I'm going to go through and grade them by hand, and that way I can see what people are getting right, and if everyone's getting certain ones wrong, I can spend some time to elaborate on that. All this stuff, information, both the discussions and the quizzes, are all aiding to that final exam. So nothing's kind of done in vain. Everything connects together. So when we get to the very last week, which is going to focus on the exam, the same questions from the quiz should be in there. Some information to elaborate on for long answers in the exam will be from your discussion. So all this ties together and weaves together for the big finale of your exam. So it's good to do it now, not only for the points now, but also for a study tool to help it sink in. So when we get to that final exam, you're going to rock that, finish this class strong, and look at history in a little different way. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll be in touch next week.